Namaste. On behalf of Project Self, United Consciousness, I, Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar, welcome all of you in this global celebration of United Consciousness, International Week of Peace. UNESCO in its constitution writes that war begins in the mind of the man. And that's why even the constructs and defenses of peace also needs to be built in the mind of the man. Peace is our birthright. Three kinds of peace. My peace with myself, peace within me. Second, peace with the people around me. And third, peace on the planet, in the world in general. But due to limited identities, it appears that peace on the planet is under great threat. Limited identities of fundamentalism of religion, intolerant thoughts, wealth divide, caste divide, divide on the basis of region, fanatic nationalism, status, color of skin, racism, casteism, divide on the basis of species, human beings consider themselves owner of all the species. Divide on the basis of gender, sex orientation, habitat even. Human beings consider themselves owner of the whole planet and leads to global warming. When this divide, because of these divides, peace which should naturally flow has to be established by forces of peacekeeping. And that's why 25 years ago in United Nations General Assembly, we all as a planet adopted a resolution for culture of peace. And today, we are also celebrating 76th year of Declaration of Human Rights for the people on the planet, where dignity, equality and justice is upheld. But it seems that we didn't improve our progress enough in that. We are seriously off track on Agenda 2030 we set for ourselves. 1 in 8 people globally is still suffering from mental disorder. Suicide is being the second leading cause of death among youth today. But still, global defense budget is twice of the global health budget. International disarmament expenditure is only 0.039% of the annual military expenditure in 2013. So United Nations alone can't do it. And that is why United Consciousness celebrates this United Nations International Day of Peace, which is a sincere attempt to raise the consciousness of the planet. Which could not be achieved by the stroke of pen or by the forces or by the resolutions can be achieved by the resolution of mankind, by rising consciousness of all. It is rising consciousness that before taking any action, I will ask 3 questions from myself. Question number 1, whether by this action will lead to uphold and sustain peace within me. Second, whether this action which I am taking will improve or sustain my peace with the people around. And third, whether the action I am taking will uphold or sustain the peace on the planet. Because peace is not only absence of conflict. At individual level, peace is the presence of the feeling of joy, serenity, dignity, hope, freedom in me. With other people, peace stands for joyful interpersonal relationship, based on love and equality, where I can see me in you, you in me, and us in all. Peace on the planet is also celebrating oneness and this diversity beyond limited divides. So every action which we take should end with disseminating more peace on the planet. In Sanskrit, peace is called Shanti. So peace within myself, peace with others, and peace in the world also. United Consciousness International Week of Peace celebration is one of the world's biggest celebration of United Nations International Day of Peace. The celebration begins on 14th of September, and this celebration will continue till 22nd of September with a hope that even if this event is over, the celebration of peace and happiness will continue resonating in everybody's life on the planet. In this program, life coaches, spiritual masters, academicians, public representatives, public servants, scientists, artists, bureaucrats, and all statesmen of repute are coming from different parts of the world, from all 6 continents of the world, because we stand together for a peaceful world. Dear friends, let's join hand together in saying, before we do anything and after we do anything, invoking the higher within and saying, Om Shanti, may there be peace within me. Om Shanti, may there be peace around me. Om Shanti, may there be peace on the planet, in the world. On behalf of Project Self, European Yoga Federation, Yoga Australia, Yoga Vidya Spiritual Council in Africa, AYT, and other important sister organizations of United Consciousness, I welcome all of you to join the celebration for the joy of life. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste. Lovely talk. Thank you so much, Dr. Toma. My name's Celia Roberts, and I'm presenting on behalf of Josh Pryor today, the CEO of Yoga Australia. And I just wanted to introduce Yoga Australia to you. So I have been a community member and at times a convener for Yoga Australia, and they're a wonderful organisation who is probably one of the top providers of yoga teacher training in the world, just in terms of the scope of practice and, in terms of also the delivery of what we do and the engagement which we have in our community and our teachers. We really pride ourselves on being, right up there amongst the best providers in the world, of course, alongside our mother country. So deep respect to you for all the goodness you've brought to the West. I suppose I should explain a little bit about what Yoga Australia does. So we have a huge body of membership, and in each state we have committees around Australia that take care of those members. We organise special events so that members can take part and keep up to date with their training. The newsletters are always really exciting, so you can sort of tap in and see what event might be on. Sometimes it's a travelling guru from India is coming to Sydney or Melbourne, and so you can go and attend that. So I always love opening those emails and feel very moved to do something different that isn't always about training, but staying a part of that community. Yoga Australia also provides some governance as well to the standards of yoga in Australia. And as a training provider, which I am, we look to Yoga Australia for curriculum guidelines, and they're some of like I said previously, the best in the world, or right up there amongst the best in the world. So I have a lot of debt as a training provider to Yoga Australia. For now, they've been looking after me as a training provider for over 10 years to deliver teacher training. And And I suppose the best thing about it is they've got a curriculum. You can go as a training provider and say, this is what I would like to teach within that curriculum. And they'll say, yes, no, maybe add this, change this a little bit. And it's got stricter over the years, which is great to see as well. So, yeah, we have occupational health and safety, and we have to provide business principles and all these kinds of things that make yoga a true profession. So, yeah, that's probably what they do for training providers. And for members, they provide, I suppose, a scalable way to discern where you are as a member. And if you join at a 200-hour level, it means you're a provisional teacher. And if you join at a 350-hour level, that means you're ready to go and teach, as a level 1 registered member. And then it goes on to level 2, 500 hours. And then once you've done 1,000 hours of teaching, and you have also, been teaching for 10 years, you can go and then offer teacher training. So, that's why I find being a member really helpful. And I always encourage our students to immediately join Yoga Australia, so that in 10 years, doesn't matter what you're doing, you might think, yes, I would like to deliver teacher training, Yeah. So it's great to have that. I suppose there are some other services that we probably don't think of that I always feel very reassured as a training provider that we have. And that is, that there's a professional body that, say someone was unhappy about the way a teacher, treated them, then they can go to this professional body and say that was unacceptable behavior. And that's a wonderful thing to have, because there are some industries in Australia that are growing now and they don't have that. And, we provide courses there, and it's a bit of a concern. So it's just wonderful to have a mediator in the background there that looks after both the provider and the community member or the Yoga Australia member. I wonder if there's any questions that anyone might have about anything more. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Celia, for introducing us to Yoga Australia and kind of great work your organization is doing. And indeed, it is need of the hour. And we feel blessed, honored to collaborate with Yoga Australia in this grand celebration of United Consciousness International Week of Peace. Thank you very much. Now we'll have a small introduction video of United Consciousness also, so that you and the audience will have better understanding of both of the organizations together before we begin. Thank you very much. Let's sit together and walk on the journey of consciousness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to United Consciousness, where one consciousness, one being, is more than just a belief. It's a movement, a global initiative that unites us all in the pursuit of peace, spiritual wisdom, and universal happiness. It's a global mission that's touching life across continents. If you have ever felt the need for connection, spiritual guidance, or just a sense of belonging, you are in the right place. Welcome to United Consciousness. United Consciousness is not just an organization. It's a living, breathing community dedicated to enhance the holistic well-being of over 3 lakh individuals worldwide. Our mission is simple yet profound. One consciousness, one being. We believe that by connecting with our higher selves and each other, we can live lives filled with purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. Together, we are building a global community that shares this vision, helping each other unlock our full potential. Our logo says it all. The lotus symbolizes enlightenment, peace, and infinite universal consciousness. The petals represent all beings in the universe, interconnected and overlapping, signifying our togetherness. And that white essence in the center, it's the one source from which all beings originated. Every detail carries meaning, right down to the 14 petals, which reminds us to the transcend our limited identities. And speaking of transcendenting identities, our vision aligns perfectly with the global movement of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. With the presence in over 100 countries, our reach is global. We are not just spreading a message, we are creating a cohesive network of individuals and organizations working together to eliminate limited identities and promote peace and happiness across the planet. But what does joining United Consciousness means to you? It means gaining access to tools and resources that will help you build mental resilience, overcome stress, depression, and anxiety, and elevate your spiritual journey. And that's just the beginning. Our live question and answer sessions with the world-renowned speakers provide you with the opportunity to get all your life questions answered, whether you are seeking spiritual upliftment, emotional intelligence, or simply a community that stands and supports you. United Consciousness is here to help you thrive in this complex world. So why wait? Join us on this transformative journey. Let's create a world where peace and happiness are not just a distant ideals, but a tangible reality we can all experience here and now. United consciousness, one being, together we can make the difference. It's my privilege to introduce and invite Dr. Rekha Singhal. She is an esteemed academic and leader in the field of psychology, currently serving as a professor and dean of the Faculty of Contemplative and Behavioral Sciences at Shri Shri University, Cuttack, Odisha. With a distinguished career spanning over 3 decades, Dr. Singhal's expertise is rooted in her doctor's in philosophy in psychology from Allahabad University and her extensive postdoctoral research, including fellowships at Wageningen University, the Netherlands, and Rhodes University, South Africa. Dr. Singhal's illustrious career began at Lady Shri Ram College for Women, New Delhi, before she spent 33 years at the Indian Institute of Forest Management, Bhopal, in various leadership roles. Her tenure also includes significant contributions as professor and Board of Governors member at IIM Ranchi. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Dr. Rekha Singhal.
Thank
Most
you.
welcome, Dr. Rekha Singhal, madam, and it is a pleasure. I join you with Yoga Australia to welcome, and we welcome you on behalf of Mr. Josh Pear, who is CEO of Yoga Australia, and Celia ji, whom you just met. Your topic, and we are honored to have you as a chief guest to speak on the topic Youth Empowerment Through Spiritual Growth, Nurturing Inner Strength and Resilience. All stage is yours.
Thank you so much giving me opportunity to speak on this forum. It's not only 1 week event, it's rather movement, and movement has to continue. And I'm grateful to Dr. Tomarji and other partners for giving me this opportunity. I think there are 2-3 things I want to talk about my institution and then come to the topic, because otherwise towards the end, when I'll share my study, I will be required to give some introduction about my organization, my present organization. So it's better I give some background of my present organization and come to the topic. And I'll try my best to speak on the issue. So you might have noticed that when you presented Shri Shri University, our logo says best of East and West. So we integrate both instead of comparing or competing. The another thing is, many of you might be knowing that Sri Sri University, the founder is Sri Sri Ravi Shankar ji, who is a global humanitarian and a spiritual leader, founder of Art of Living, which has now its centers in 158 countries, and also founder of Sudarshan Kriya. But more than that, I want to emphasize that the university this is the only university established by him. Like all other universities, we have regular faculty areas like agriculture, MBA, BTech, dance. But the department which I belong is called Faculty of Contemplative and Behavioral Sciences. And we provide degree in psychology and contemplative studies. And that is how my interest of learning from this event lies, and to share certain things what we are doing at this center. But one thing is very interesting within the university campus. It's a huge campus. We have three institutions. One, certainly university. Another is Sri Sri Academy, which is kindergarten for the children. So value-based education and more in the traditional system of Indian education is there. But we also have a traditional Gurukul. And Gurukul is a residential program, and education of Vedas goes there. And towards the end, I'll be sharing that the study which we are doing relating to the topic which has been given to me, youth empowerment through spiritual growth, nurturing inner strength and resilience. Let me accept I'm very new to this arena. I'm a learner. And therefore, in the learning process, you'll find that I'm using a lot of concepts of psychology and will try to integrate with philosophy. And I'll try to share the study which we are doing, which will highlight the theme of this study. Presentation, I can do it. How can share a screen? Does it come? No. Somebody will help me to how to share the screen.
There is an option in the bottom tab called Present.
Yes.
Yes, you click on it. First, you open the window, then click on it, and then you can share.
No, there is slide and share screen option. I should go on slide.
Slide, yep. You can share the screen also if you want. You can open it, and then you can share it.
Okay.
First, you open the screen that you want to share, and then say share screen.
Okay, so I have done open and share the screen. Select the tab. Oh my God. Some technical. Okay, let me say window, no entire screen. It's not coming somewhere. Somebody can help me further. I've opened, my PPT is visible or not yet?
No, it's not visible.
It's not visible.
You can.
Oh, okay. I think now I'll have to probably. No, it's got not a entire.
If you need technical support, then can we take your speech after the next speaker, or what should we do? Because
yeah, I can understand the time is important. How should that's the mistake. We didn't try the share screen option. What do you suggest? I'll do. I'm comfortable in both. No, it's
yes,
not.
if you can speak without PowerPoint, is it possible for you?
I can speak, but it will not be the points which I'm trying to make. It says stop sharing.
Okay.
Present. Let me share one. Let me make last attempt. Otherwise, please reschedule it. Your computer. I've uploaded the file. Is it now? No,
It's not.
everyone can. I think it's coming. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it has come. Is it?
Yes, it is here. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for bearing me. Okay, so the topic is already known, so I'll try to make up the lost time, and I'll not speak much on the topic, on the title. Slide 2, yes. So let me how I have organized my presentation. I'll be taking both psychological as well as Indian philosophical perspective on the topic. I'll begin with the psychological perspective very quickly. I'll come to the Indian philosophical perspective, maybe a little bit on these concepts. And I want to put Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which integrates psychology and philosophy. And this is the thing I want to share ongoing longitudinal study on the topic we are already doing. And since it is a longitudinal study, it is midway. So that is how I have organized my presentation. Uh, to be very brief, the psychology comes from the Greek word psyche plus logos, study of soul and mind. And that is how we are very close to philosophy. In fact, psychology originated with philosophy for a very long time. All over the globe, it was with the philosophy department. And it was in 1879 modern psychology started. But before that, psychology was not a separate discipline. And see, study of soul and mind. And that is how it goes, empowering youth, resilience, and all that. And we talk about three elements of behavior as a psychologist: cognitive, effective, and conative. And whenever we say cognitive, we are talking about the mental processes, reasoning, thinking, right? Memory and emotional intelligence, liking, disliking, happiness, pleasure. And cognitive is action, doing, meditation, going to the gym, doing yoga, or something like that. And that is how psychological perspective says that all the three elements, or the balance of all the three elements, is very important. Now, the balance of these three elements is very important, not only for youth, it's for human being. The only thing is, at the different stage in the life, the emphasis may vary. Like during youth, the focus goes more on cognitive and conative, but children are more emotional oriented. Elderly people are more emotional, women are more emotional, but somewhere the balance of the three is the crux of balanced life, right? And happy, peaceful, inner energy life. Now I'm coming to the Indian philosophy, and probably there's nothing new. I'm just putting as a context that in fact Indian philosophy, if you go in the history, is much older than origin of psychology or even psychology, which is very new, 1879. But if you go in the Vedic text of India, it's before Christ, and you can see the period. And the Indian philosophy, remember the topic: youth, inner strength, resilience, empowerment. Indian philosophy says way of life, and it provides emphasis on way of life, and the emphasis is on experiential quality. You experience yourself, and that is how inner strength gets connected, nurturing inner strength. It's essentially spiritual and focuses spirit or soul as a superior to body and matter. You can see the relationship between the psychology and Indian philosophy, and can see which is older and how they affected the thought processes. Except Charvaka system, all Indian philosophical system provide emphasis on spiritual value. And the three very important aspects of philosophical thought. First is self or soul, which we call Atman, right? And that's what is inner strength, self, work or karma. That's what is you do by, you get empowered by doing, and liberation, moksha, that is the ultimate aim. Now, moving further, I heard Dr. Tomar was talking about Aham Brahmasmi, or let there be peace, right? The same is part of Indian, these are the part of Indian values, Indian philosophical values. And I've already said that Indian philosophic system talks about experience and energy. These two E, experience and energy, are very, very important in Indian philosophical system. And then it says that these four philosophical values, mercy, compassion, support, empathy, forgiveness, solidarity, these needs to be practiced, experienced. And then that will result in Aham Brahmasmi, I'm Brahman. Consciousness is a Brahman. Individual self is reality. And then Aham Brahma, this individual self itself is a Brahma. And that much is focus is on self. And how to achieve that? Intense meditation. Nobody else can do it for you. You have to do it yourself. Experience yourself and get energy. There's no need to, because the people or the participants are so well informed and so expert. There's no need to define, but still I'll just use a one-liner thing to emphasize that all over the globe, the number of people focusing on spirituality is increasing than religion. And the moment we talk about spirituality, we focus on goodness, on human nature. And whenever we talk about spirituality, it is related to individual practice. I've already said nobody else can practice for you. You have to do it, you have to experience, you get empowered, you get inner strength, you develop resilience. And that is how spirituality is the core and crux of this. Now, I think I've already said about spirituality, so I'll skip all these parts. The only thing is I'll focus on, because I'm keeping my eye on time. So the most important thing which I want to highlight is that spirituality is inner path, and there is a purpose to achieve those values, and spirituality is also a source of resilience. Resilience for dealing with the adversity. It's not limited to one kind of adversity, any kind of adversity, and resilience results in bouncing back. So any kind of adversity, you are able to bounce back with your inner strength, with your experience, with learning by doing. And spirituality gets connected with meaning and purpose of life. I'd also heard Dr. Tomar talking about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And that philosophy is intrinsically connected with deeper spirituality. For us, the whole globe, the whole world is one family. The focus is on self-awareness, self-regulation, and self-cognition. And the cognition is coming from psychology again. So all this results in empowerment. And you'll find empowerment is used widely. Even the politicians almost in all the countries use various mechanisms in their manifesto to empower various category of people or type of people. And the same way, the spiritual meaning of empowerment is different, and the spiritual of meaning of empowerment does not connect it with very specific area, Rather, it results in you acquire more self-control on all aspects of life. And the most important thing is you. Nobody empowers you. You empower yourself with self experience, nurturing inner strength through meditation. You get empowered. Now I'm coming to the core and Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Again, I know all of you must be familiar, but still I'll indulge in talking about this because this one, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we feel that it is the one which is so comprehensive. It combines all themes which are given to me to speak on. Again, Patanjali Yoga Sutra is much, much before came in the picture than the modern psychology. And people call it as a practicing manual. It's not philosophy. It gives you practical manual. There might be several streams of yoga philosophy, but you'll find that the mother philosophy of yoga comes from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. And that is why rather the all psychologists believe that Indian approach to psychology also comes from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The important thing is to notice that 8 limbs, they are not separate part, but they are interconnected. It's not that one appear after and then the first one goes, rather they are interconnected to result in meaningful and purposeful life. And the 8 limbs, I'll be very quick and I will be within time limit. Yama, and Yama talks about restraint, moral discipline, and moral vows through non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, right use of energy, and non-greediness. I'm deliberately reading the English meaning of those rather than the Sanskrit words so that I save the time. And you can see that each one of them is directly connected with global peace. Each one of them. Now I come to the next limb, niyama, positive duties or observance. And the important thing is niyama, positive duties are internal duties. It's not for others. You have to practice, you have to do it and within. And again, there are 5 niyamas. Niyamas means rule, cleanliness, contentment, discipline of burning desire, self-study, self-reflection, study of spiritual text, and that is what we call is swa-adhyay, and surrender to higher power. Just see how old and how topical Patanjali was or is. Asanas, now here connects the yogas. And asanas, I'm not going in detail, it's a physical aspect. And in the physical aspect of yoga, it says that you should be comfortable and steady. So all poses of asanas should result in you are comfortable and studies. The 4th limb of Patanjali Yoga Sutra is pranayama, breathing technique. Pran means life source. It's energy for universe. It's breath. The human life begins with breath and ends with breath. And it affects the mind. And that is what pranayama says, that we should get freedom from breath, breath expansion, breath liberation. You talk any form of meditation, any school of yoga, one common factor will be breath regulation, breath expansion. And that is what it pranayama. And then comes the pratyahara, sense of withdrawal. I'll again not read the whole thing. It says that withdraw from consciously, like sound, smell, which we continuously get through our senses to have higher form of meditative practice. Meditative practice does not mean that sitting in the lotus shape. It requires withdrawal of the sense organs, and then really you go in the various stages of meditative practices. And dharana is focused concentration, and then you will have point. When you withdraw senses, there will be a point of concentration. You will find different schools of meditation will say focus on forehead, focus on navel part, or focus on here. But all forms of yoga and meditation, they talk about focused concentration. Dhyana, meditative absorption, and samadhi is the bliss and entitlement which goes to the moksha, with three principles of Indian philosophy. I talked about it. So you'll find that the topic on which I'm supposed to speak, youth empowerment through 7 limbs of, it's not youth, it's a human being empowerment through 7 limbs of Yoga Sutra, spiritual growth through 7 limbs of Yoga Sutra, nurturing inner strength and resilience through 7 limbs of Yoga Sutra. And nobody else, you yourself do it, and it goes there. And now I'm coming to the most vibrant part, and probably look for guidance and support from you. Since I've joined this university almost 3+ years before, with the background of psychology, but I had always been working on Indian psychology. So, and I've already said that we have students around 4,000 plus in the university. We have a kindergarten school in the campus, as well as Gurukul system, the traditional study system of Vedas, where Vedas are taught in their degree, and they have their own dressing and food and every lifestyle. So we got all kind of participants for the study within the campus, because that is the real challenge in most of the longitudinal study, because you cannot get the same person after 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. And among the students, we have regular gym practitioner students, because gym and gym studios are very popular in global. And then from the outer appearance, we say, yes, you are going gym, your body tells. We also have regular yoga practitioners, because we have BSc and MSc in yoga, not yoga, psychology, yoga. We also have regular meditator because of art of living people. There are students who regularly meditate. Even students of BSc and MSc psychology and contemplative studies, we begin our studies with half an hour meditation, and then only other classes start. We have regular yoga and meditation, and we have regular yoga, meditation, and chanting. And here you'll find mostly Gurukul students. And that is how we could get 5 categories of participants in our study. We started almost 1.5 months before, and we plan to go at least for 3 years in this study, because these participants will be in the campus. So it's very easy to get these 3 groups. And the age group is 14 to 23, the youth. We have mix of both boys and girls. We are collecting data 4 times a year, both physiological and psychological dimension. Physiological is mostly quantitative, blood sample, blood pressure, heart rate, all those things, and psychometric test and other kind of things, stress, anxiety, quality of sleep, all those kind of things. And
Ma'am, I'm extremely sorry. Actually,
just I'll take 30 seconds.
Okay, we are 14 minutes up than the time. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So the results are revealing, and we hope this will give a lot of evidence-based data of nurturing strength and empowerment, the role of meditation and all that. So thank you so much for giving me opportunity. And I look for your inputs, comments, suggestions for overall presentation, as well as how can we improve our study so that we can share it with the globe and getting longitudinal study.
Thank you very much, madam, for giving emphasis of how 8 limbs of yoga can contribute in youth empowerment. You also connected it with psychology and deep Indian philosophy. Our good wishes for the university and the students. Thank you very much, ma'am, for today's presence. Thank you.
Thank you so
On
much.
behalf of
Thank you so
United
much. I'm great.
Consciousness, I thank Dr. Rekha Singhal for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much. I feel privileged to welcome and introduce Mr. Hanuman Das, also known as Greg Clark. He is a distinguished teacher and author in the realm of spiritual living. Since his early 20s, he has dedicated his life to spirituality profoundly influenced by his teacher Ram Das. He specializes in teaching meditation and self-inquiry, emphasizing the integration of spiritual practices into everyday life. As the author of Om Salvations, Tale of a Spiritual Traveler, and currently editing his upcoming book, Peace Man, which focus on man's spiritual journeys, Hanuman Das offers valuable insights into the spiritual path. His work has been featured in esteemed publications like Australian Yoga General, Australian Yoga Life Delhi Om, and Elephant Journal, and he has started his wisdom on both local and national radio in Australia. Mr. Das' commitment to blending spiritual wisdom with practical living highlights his deep dedication to guiding others on their own spiritual paths. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Hanuman Das.
Namaste.
Most welcome, Hanuman Das ji. Hanuman ji is my ist. Your name is beautiful. You're most welcome to speak on the topic yoga and the journey of healing long-term physical disease. Most welcome.
Thank you, Vikrant. How are you? It was also lovely to see in the background on Vikrant's table there a picture of Swami Vivekananda, one of the great teachers in my life and in the life of many students of spirit. And so I wanted to speak today. I'll try and speak slowly just in case we've got a range of accents and the Australian accent is difficult to hear and pick up. But I wanted to start with a prayer. It would be inauspicious not to begin with maybe a recitation of the Gamaya mantra. So if you feel at peace and you know the mantra, please just join in by close your eyes. Take a gentle breath in. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyoti Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya. Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. So the final line of Om Shanti, 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 Vikrant spoke about in his introduction. And it's made me think a lot about peace and health on the journey of our awakening. What is peace? What does it mean in our modern world? What is it the resultant of? Is it a natural state of our being, or is it the result of following the Dharma, living and resolving karma? Is it through our bhakti? Is it through our shakti? Is it through our inward reflections of jnana? How is the peace that we so desire, most of us so desire, achievable? How can we find peace amongst chaos? It seems, at least outwardly to those who don't have eyes to see, that there is chaos externally. And many of the students that may come via our temple, via our studio, are very interested in peace and healing on their journey, but it's usually focused outside. I'll be peaceful when everyone and everything changes. And that doesn't seem like it's a viable option. So I found that when you're at peace, everything changes. Rather than seeking peace externally through changes in the world or your family or your friends or your yoga teacher, it's accessible always inside you when you've lived in harmony, in tune with your with your Dharma over the last few months at the studio where we have been teaching yoga and philosophy and Vedanta. We've done a series of teachings on the Saturday morning Dharma talk, ranging from, we did a dozen or so lectures, discourses on the Ramayana, and a beautiful series on exploring Ram and his peace that was there through the most challenging times, through battle and through war and through loss of life and love. He remained at peace, constantly healing himself and those around him from anything that was vexing or troublesome. And then we did a series that gently, naturally led on to that, which was about Dharma and the personal Dharma. And as Vikrat talked about, the family Dharma, and then the cultural Dharma, and then the universal Dharma. And I came to the conclusion, at least in my own mind at this point, that peace is not accessible unless we're living to some degree in tune with that path, our Dharma, our way, our purpose, our meaning. This is the way true healing can happen. It may not be curing of the physical body or total curing of other things, but it'll be healing in the sense of the mind and the body finding ease because you're on the right path. You're doing what brings meaning for yourself. You're aligned with what, as Krishna said to Arjuna on the battlefield, you must follow your path and no one else's. So as we unfold and as we work inwards to what peace is for us, and no matter the external circumstances, we are able to manage, to navigate, to remain steady, whether the person in front of you in the line is having a difficult time, whether the people that supposedly govern and are in charge, who lead, seemingly off track or on track, we remain peaceful, because the state of the body and the state of the mind is relative to our sense, inward looking. So if we're seeking that peace, if we're seeking that joy, if we're seeking that balance, then it has to come from inside. It has to be rebalanced, rebooted, so that inside, amidst joy and suffering, there's even amounts of peace. My teacher, Swami Tyagananda from the Boston Vedanta Society, says if you can't control your joy or your ecstasy, you won't control your misery. And I think it's a very, very insightful phrase, that if we are at peace when things are going in our favor, we're blessed. And if we are at peace when things seemingly aren't going in our favor, we are blessed. So each time something arises in your life, a circumstance arising to a karmic choice, if you follow the Dharma, peace will come, healing will come, physical health will re-establish itself to the level it can, depending on the aging of the body and the mind and of all the circumstances of a short, brief incarnation on this plane. And it's much talked about in Hinduism and in Buddhism that this plane, this realm, this loka, is precise balance of joy and suffering. And so it's I'm going over that area with saying what is happening here now is exactly right for us to awaken, for us to return to peace. No matter if it's seemingly out of balance outside, chaotic, things are going against what we think is the normal grain of things. There's less truth than there is more truth. There's more attachment than there is non-attachment. This is where we reorient ourselves back towards soul, back towards jiva. And each time we do this, we get a little bit more stable. So the next time a difficult thing arises, we have got the braced, we are supported by spiritual practice, by understanding of the philosophies of Vedanta and yoga and Sankhya and all the traditions that the previous speaker spoke about. They are the brace that supports us in these troublesome times. They are the support, the dharana, that supports us during the challenge. Because each time you get a little bit more at ease, you get a little bit more attending to yourself. in relation to how will I navigate this circumstance? What is the dharmic choice? Where am I dharmic and where am I adharmic? Does this bring peace, or does this bring me shakti, bhakti? Does this bring me shelter? All these words about purity and devotion and inner strength, because we can't have peace if we have no inner power or inner strength. We can't have peace if we don't have any devotion. We can't have peace if we aren't informed about this path, this dharmic path, this sanatana dharma. So as you start to unfold in your spiritual practices, as they start to seem like you want them more than you need them, you are happy to get up early and sit in meditation. You can't wait to get out of bed in the morning to do your puja, your arti, to sit with your guru, my guru Neem Kurli Baba. It's like the best date of the day to get up early and to spend time, as Brother Lawrence talked about, in constant communion with your Ishta. Dr. Vikar was saying that Hanumanji was his Ishta Devata. And as we go through the day, spending more time in communication with our Ishta, because Hanuman was said to be the perfect balance of Shakti and Bhakti, of strength and love, of strength and devotion. If everyone that is on this path is finding the balance with their Ishta, reflecting the qualities, then peace will reign. Then the healing part of your journey, which the healing part from perspective that I have is that the resolving of karma, the non-creation of new karma or only helpful karma, that is what is really healing. The body will age and decay. The beard will change color. The hair, the arms and the legs will not move as when they like to. The eyes will change. My teacher Ramdas said it's the perfect time to sit down and meditate. You don't see as well. You don't hear as well. You don't move as well. What's left to do? Sit down and meditate. Follow your path. Follow the inherent wisdom that your body mind has. Seek that part of you that is unaffected by external circumstances, not wet by water, not burnt by fire. All those beautiful lines in the Gita that inform us about where we might have become adharmic, where we might have lost our meaning and purpose, where we haven't found, when we're just a little bit off track, the way we've taken a wrong turn. There are some beautiful signs in Australia. When you enter a major thoroughfare, a big road, there's big signs, a big red sign, probably 5-10 meters high, 20 meters across, that says wrong way, go back, just in case you've entered the wrong side of the freeway. And that's the art of the yogi. That's the art of the spiritual seeker, the sadhaka, that they can notice very swiftly what takes away peace or power, and they can readjust and sit back in that very sweetly, very quickly. They're able to discern, have viveka in relation to their highest good, in relation to the highest good around them. So I've just got the little flashing light from Vikrant. So I'll finish with a very similar quote that he spoke to about us earlier on. It's from Swami Sivananda, and he was talking about what Vikrant was talking about in terms of checking your actions and your words and your speech. And he offered this. He said, will it help someone and will it harm no one? And if those criteria are met, it will maintain or increase peace. So I ask that for you. I ask that for all of us, that on this plane, on this realm of joy and suffering, that we can elevate above that and we can find shanti in every moment. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Thank you, Hanuman Das ji. The speech resembles your name. You mentioned about Samanya Dharma, the universal Dharma, Vishishta Dharma, my personal Dharma, and you also talked about Guna Dharma, my characteristics Dharma, and you also said follow your own path, Swadharma. You kept on saying that align yourself with Dharma and that leads to peace. And you also mentioned that Ishta helps you to align yourself to the Dharma. And as you rightly said, that every day, if we keep wherever we want to begin with, if we are more right than wrong than yesterday, then certainly we are moving towards the path of Dharma. You mentioned that appropriately, that for that we need Viveka. We need to know what is the lesser behavior, what is the greater behavior. Leaving the lesser, embracing the greater is the way, and knowing that wrong way, go back whenever it is lesser. And Swami Shivananda said, as you rightly mentioned, help someone, harm no one. It is the essence of all the dharmas on the planet, which will
Beautiful.
lead us with peace. Thank you very much. Really honored.
Namaste.
Namaste.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Mr. Hanuman Das for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much. To welcome and introduce Ms. Celia Roberts, a distinguished senior yoga teacher and therapist with Yoga Australia and Meditation Australia. She brings an exceptional deep knowledge and dedication to the field of mind-body medicine. With a biomedical science degree and over 2 decades of experience, Celia's commitment to delivering the highest quality education is unparalleled. Her approach is rooted in a continuous pursuit of cutting-edge research and innovative teaching methods, ensuring her students receive compassionate and transformative learning experience in yoga, meditation, and lifestyle medicine. Her passion for holistic health has not only enhanced the lives of countless yoga teachers trainees, but also helped to shape the future of the lifestyle medicine industry. Her personal and professional experiences have enabled her to witness firsthand the power of yoga and meditation in fostering health and well-being. She is deeply committed to create compassionate education that integrates mind and body, recognizing the importance of therapies that address the whole person. Through her journey of establishing international health communities, she has gained immense cultural understanding and a unique ability to build meaningful connections. Her visionary work continues to inspire and transform lives as she leads with compassion, knowledge, and a profound belief in the healing power of yoga and lifestyle medicines. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Celia Roberts.
Most welcome, Celia ji. Yes, thank you. Most welcome, Ms. Celia Roberts ji. We are so happy to have you here to speak on the role of spirituality in addressing mental health challenges. All stage is yours.
Thank you. Yes, so I thought I'd share a personal example. When I was 19 years old, my sister was unfortunate to die of mental health issues. And since that time, I, took that suffering and that loss and that grief, and I turned it around for myself, and with the attempt to aid others and heal their suffering as well. Perhaps the most interesting research that we have on young brains, not only limited to young brains, but also adult brains, but also done in the young teenage brain, is that if there is a lack of spirituality in the individual's life or the individual's consciousness, the brain will take on what we can see in MRI scans as depression. Yeah, so a lack of a build-up of the parietal and occipital lobes and the prefrontal cortex, as well as other small areas of the brain. They're a little bit more difficult to describe. So what we see through the practice of spirituality, we can actually build up this muscle in our brain, and it is actually better than taking a pill. Now, unfortunately, we know that antidepressants and particularly antidepressants in young children can be very dangerous to their mental health. My sister was given one of those psychiatric pills, which is now not able to be released by any psychiatrists or doctors in Australia and perhaps over the world, because unfortunately it caused her death. So I feel it's really important that we establish this spiritual connection for our youth. India is really good at it. Australia, we used to have Christianity and Catholicism as a big part of our growing up, which still really scaffolds our brain development. And more so we see mindfulness and yoga, Buddhism and yoga starting to infiltrate into the society, which is wonderful as the East unites with the West. But I'm referencing the work of Dr. Lisa Miller, So she talks about the awakened brain, and she particularly talks about the young brain that is unhinged in a way where there's perhaps no contact with the outside world, so the natural environment, and no contact with any sort of spiritual discipline or moral code or spiritual transcendence, being really quite dangerous for one's mental health. Yeah, so we see that depression increases if that's the case. So I do really believe that if we can try and move forward without medicines, not to say that they're bad and they can be helpful, but if we can move forward with things like yoga, just the simple practices of returning to nature to heal, using our breath to pacify our mind, using our body to gain some somatic awareness, and also to pacify our nervous system and quieten the mind. We can see that those somatic practices like yoga asana and breathing practices, which have so heavily been written up, the breathing practices, particularly in the ancient scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita and the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, we can see that those practices are almost as good as medicine, any medicine that we could put in our mouth. And that's because we can see that our somatic practices or the messages that come up to our brain, or the messages between our brain and our body, 90% of those messages are coming from the body up. So it's what we call a bottom-up processing when we practice yoga asana or breathing techniques or pranayama. Very little of our messages tend to go down. So we can see 10%, come from our thought processes and affect our body. But essentially our body reads a situation first, and then those messages go up to the brain. So 90% upwards and 10% down. So we can use the body and breath as very simple tools, particularly for young developing children or teenagers, to help elevate that kind of spiritual connection or that present moment awareness. So it doesn't have to be psychology and psychiatry, even though those have a role to play. And I very, very, very much believe in self-inquiry, which is sort of likened to CBT, although the research is showing us that CBT isn't as effective as we once thought it was. This is cognitive behavioral therapy. So we can start to use practices that, engage compassion, or compassion in the body, where we're kind of soft and gentle, or maybe firm and strong, which is what we need for depression. So when we do, for example, a handstand, we see a big rise in endorphins. Or when we do down face dog and we press our hands into the earth, that weight bearing activity is really important for combating depression. So yeah, having yoga asana in schools, really important, very, very important. And having some sort of spiritual context to the young brain, incredibly robust research for building up the occipital, parietal lobes, the prefrontal cortex, and some smaller parts in the brain, like I mentioned. Now, when we practice breathing, for example, we're really working on vagal tone. So we can see that, if we do an inhale for a breath of 5 and an exhale for a breath of 5, so we've got an equal samana breath. Professor Paul Gilbert, who practices compassion-focused therapy, he uses this before someone would even come into a clinical psychology setting, and they would do that breath work to increase the parasympathetic nervous system activity. Now that's yoga. We've been doing it for so long. It's altering the state of consciousness, the state of the nervous system, the state of the mind. Stephen Porges, for example, Peter Levine, they use a breath ratio of 40 on the inhale and 60 on the exhale, 4 to 6. So that's more of a pacification of the nervous system, not the equal samana breath, but more of a longer out breath. So a langara breath. Yeah. And so in that way, we tend to pacify the mind, quieten the nervous system, and use more in trauma rather than the equal breath. So those are some ways that we can stimulate the vagal tone response, and we all know them. And if we add mantra and hum, that extends the breath ratio more than just the breath alone. So often when I have perhaps a young person who might not be spiritually inclined, and Om might be difficult for them, like it is here in the West, but perhaps not so much in other countries, I might just get them to hum. So hum. And that, of course, is a mantra for the chakra system just all on its own, and a very spiritual energizing mantra for the heart. I'm quoting David Frawley here, a Vedic scholar of 50 years and a fabulous teacher of mine. So that hum meditation, all of its own, is a natural vasodilator. So we use that hum and we release nitric oxide in the paranasal sinuses. We see that it increases our immune response, which is so crucial in warding off depression. And I just think something like that is so simple. When I have suffered from little bits of difficulty in my life, I might be driving and just bringing in that hum meditation, and I know that that's extending my breath ratio more than if I was just practicing pranayama. So Vedic chanting, all these things that we've been doing for so long are now proven to really work. I suppose the other wish that I would like to impart is that when we look at Dr. Lisa Miller's work, and I'll just see if I can share the screen easily, and if I can't, I'll reiterate her work. No, it's not coming up so easily, but she says in working with the awakened brain, being in a natural environment is really important. So, and being with a spiritual teacher and a spiritual community are also really important. And we can start to see that high amplitude alpha wave frequencies at the back of the brain start to increase when we're in spiritual discipline, like when we're in our morning practice, or when we're in a group, or when we come into coherence with another human being whose amplitude is also high. So high amplitude alpha wave frequencies at the back of the brain. Now, one thing that's really fascinating, and I mean, she's a Harvard researcher, so I always found this a bit woo-woo, but fabulous as well. She says that this is also Schumann's resonance. So we start to resonate, and I am going to perhaps forget the math, so forgive me if I've got it wrong, but 7.32 hertz. Yeah, so this high frequency, high amplitude alpha wave frequency at the back of our brain is also the Earth's aura, or the Earth's frequency, and to have modern science showing us that's incredible. So she is really saying to our youth and to us who are, working and on computers, get back into nature. And so that's why I thought, when I found this place, build this studio where people can practice outdoors. It's so important. We've got to get back to our roots. And so, yes, being in the outdoors and being in nature and resonating with that high amplitude alpha wave frequency when we're in spiritual connection with a group, a teacher, or in nature. A group, a teacher, or in nature, or in prayer or meditation. And it doesn't matter of what discipline, Judaism, Christianity, Muslim, Islam, all of these things, or yoga, or Buddhism. It doesn't have to be a religion or a spirituality, just, something that helps you connect and resonate. It might also be a good time to mention the work of Andrew Newberg. He's a fabulous cognitive neuroscientist. And what he does is show us what the brain's doing when we come to pray or when we come to breathe and focus on the breath. And so what we see is the blood flow moves from the occipital lobes to the prefrontal cortex. And that would be the same as if we were a Buddhist nun or a Christian nun. So the prayer or the breath or the repetition of mantra, or a yogi or a Buddhist monk, that all creates this focus. Yeah, this we wouldn't say hyper focus, but just for the purpose of conversation, when we become very focused. And the blood flow then moves away from these parts of the brain to this part of the brain. And that means that the individual tends to lose a sense of time, space, and self. So that's where we get that ego dissolution after a period of time. Then, strangely, after a period of time, we see the blood flow tends to shunt back, and that's when that sense of ego dissolution starts to occur. So it goes from here to here, and then shunts back quickly, and then the ego dissolution occurs. So we use these practices to let go of our problems, our sense of identity that might cause us harm, our sense of suffering. And so we can see that the spiritually awakened brain is the medicine we need. It is absolutely the medicine we need. And we don't need to put things into our mouths to get well. We need to focus on breath, nature, spiritual discourse, treating our whole life as a meditation, and sometimes also working on our egoic identity with trying to help or save people. That's definitely been one of mine over the 20 years that I've practiced, trying to clean up all this mental health mess. And we're really suffering now as a society. But like it was so beautifully said before, it's really important, Dr. Toma mentioned it, that the war is in here. The mental health issues are in here. They're an escalation of our consciousness, perhaps. And so as a yogi, I am personally learning that the best thing I can do is perhaps to cease the help, the service for a while, and really cultivate that cleaning up of my mind on the inside and my heart on the inside. And that can be the best service we can give at that period of time in our lives, perhaps once we've come to some level of realization. That doesn't mean, of course, that we won't return to the world and do selfless service. But yeah, we each have our role at different times and different places. And it's very wise to look at perhaps the issue is within us, within our consciousness, and we can start here at home. Great.
So wonderful speech, Celia Roberts-ji. It is mixture of philosophy, psychology, modern science. It purely justifies the degree that is just next to your name, BSc, Biomedical Institution. So it is a combination of all. Thank you for taking us through a journey of your own life, which help us to be sensitive about how life happens to us. And you mentioned about that instead of medication, go for meditation. It works more. And you rightly mentioned that from amygdala to VMPFC, ventromedial prefrontal cortex, is the journey of life. You rightly mentioned about Dr. Miller's awakened brain. You mentioned that how young brains respond to things when they go for meditation. You took example of breath, body awareness, and you also mentioned that meditation help us to activate parasympathetic nervous system. You also mentioned about vagal tone. So that, and you also said that when our mind becomes in alpha due to this deep meditation, and alpha is also the whole earth is resonating in Schumann resonance. Also, you connected alpha and theta. That was so wonderful of you. You also gave us some practical tips how to inhale or exhale when you take in breath and out breath. You also mentioned about the self-inquiry, and you connected it to CBT and ABCD, as they say, activating event and then disputed these things. But you also mentioned the limitations of CBT. At the same time, you talk about how profound self-inquiry or swadhyaya is. You also suggested us to be next to the teacher, prayer, nature. And you also made that all paths are equal, all paths leads to thee. You also mentioned that coherence also helps us to develop alpha brainwaves. You also mentioned when you pray, there are researches that says that when you pray, that blood flows here and you go get into what Mihai Csikszentmihalyi talks about. You get into a flow, a state of zeroness, a state of absolute samadhi. So I think it is a complete talk, and people would like to listen it again and again. You talk about Professor Gilbreth, Dr. Miller, and many other studies you mentioned. I'm sure that people would like to listen it again so that they can be greatly benefited. Highly honored. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a wonderful ability to recap like that. That's incredible. Thank you. Thanks for the work.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Ms. Celia Roberts for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. It's my honor to introduce and welcome Mr. Gopal Amir Yafa, a visionary and compassionate leader in the global yoga community. Has dedicated his life to foster peace and connection through his innovative work. Starting his journey as a teenager, he found his calling in yoga and meditation at the young age of 14, which deepened during his 10 years as a Hindu monk at the Shivananda Ashram. Since 1995, he has been teaching yoga to both adults and children, expanding the ideas of inner peace into a large mission of global harmony. His passion for making yoga more inclusive led to the opening of Yoga Le Shalom, Yoga for Peace Center in Tel Aviv, where he advocated for yoga's potential to cultivate world peace. His most groundbreaking work is the creation of Rainbow Yoga, a transformative practice that moves beyond the individual, making yoga social, interactive, and inclusive. This revolutionary approach has touched lives worldwide, emphasizing community, love, and connection. Alongside his beautiful family, he is on a heartfelt mission to inspire a social evolution rooted in kindness, compassion, and inclusivity for all human beings, both human and animal, guided by the mantra, "Be the change you want to see in the world." He continues to lead with love and purpose, spreading light wherever he goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Gopal Amir Yapa.
Most welcome, Gopalji, and we all are ears to you to listen about cultivating inner peace and serenity through spiritual meditation. All stage is yours for next 14 minutes. Thank you. Your voice is not coming. There's a humming voice. Like this. I think you may need some technical support. No, still your voice is not coming. You're still here. Oh, it is still here. Can't listen to you. Okay. So, in the interest of time, if you permit, we can go for panel discussion and then we come for your speech. Is it okay? Your voice is not coming at all. Would you like to log in again, log out and log in again? Till then, panelist introduction can be played. It will save our time. If Gopalji logs in again and his voice is clear, then we can take him for the talk.
Yoga and meditation offers a transformative path to global peace by cultivating inner harmony that radiates outward. Through practices that calm the mind and foster self-awareness, these ancient disciplines promote compassion, empathy, and non-violence. By connecting individuals to their inner truth and shared humanity, yoga and meditation serve as a universal tool to transcend cultural and political divides, inspiring a world grounded in peace, cooperation, and understanding. So today's panel discussion will be on the topic Yoga and Meditation as a Means for Global Peace. I feel privileged to welcome and introduce Mr. Hanuman Das, also known as Conclave. He is a distinguished teacher and author in the realm of spiritual living. Since his early 20s, he has dedicated his life to spirituality, profoundly influenced by his teacher Ram Dass. He specializes in teaching meditation and self-inquiry, emphasizing the integration of spiritual practices into everyday life. As the author of Om Salvation, Tale of a Spiritual Traveler, and currently editing his upcoming book, Peace Man, which focused on man's spiritual journeys, Hanuman Das offers valuable insights into the spiritual path. His work has been featured in esteemed publications like Australian Yoga General, Australian Yoga Life Delhi Om, and Elephant Journal, and he has started his wisdom on both local and national radio in Australia. Mr. Das' commitment to blending spiritual wisdom with practical living highlights his deep dedication to guiding others on their own spiritual path. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Hanuman Das. It's my honor to introduce and welcome Mr. Gopal Amir Yafa, a visionary and compassionate leader in the global yoga community. Has dedicated his life to foster peace and connection through his innovative work. Starting his journey as a teenager, he found his calling in yoga and meditation at the young age of 14, which deepened during his 10 years as a Hindu monk at the Shivananda Ashram. Since 1995, he has been teaching yoga to both adults and children, expanding the ideas of inner peace into a large mission of global harmony. His passion for making yoga more inclusive led to the opening of Yoga Le Shalom, Yoga for Peace Center in Tel Aviv, where he advocated for yoga's potential to cultivate world peace. His most groundbreaking work is the creation of Rainbow Yoga, a transformative practice that moves beyond the individual, making yoga social, interactive, and inclusive. This revolutionary approach has touched lives worldwide, emphasizing community, love, and connection. Alongside his beautiful family, he is on a heartfelt mission to inspire a social evolution rooted in kindness, compassion, and inclusivity for all human beings, both human and animal, guided by the mantra, "Be the change you want to see in the world." He continues to lead with love and purpose, spreading light wherever he goes. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Gopal Amir Yafa. I'm delighted to welcome and introduce Ms. Valerie Femet-Feneko. She's a reputed teacher who started to practice yoga in 1994. She began teaching in 1999 in the US after taking a 200 hours courses, and then went to the complete more than 8 combined years of training in the tradition of Krishnamacharya with her mentor Frank Modes in Belgium, and at the KYM in India with Mr. Desikachar and other senior teachers. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Valerie Femet. Our next guest is Mr. Neeraj Vaidya. He has completed his bachelor's from Indian Institute of Technology in New Delhi. He also have done postgraduate diploma from Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. Also completed Chartered Financial Analyst from American Institute. He is Operation Director and COO at Unified Chemicals Zambia. Neeraj has managed companies in Nigeria, Cameroon, Ponty, Nor, Congo, United Arab Emirates, and Zambia. Neeraj is passionate about executing strategic projects, reforming and rebuilding businesses, and raising capital. His enthusiasm for continual learning is reflected in his YouTube channel, where he gives talks on health, inspiration, and business learning. Today's panel discussion will be moderated by Dr. Vikrant Singh Tobar, convener United Consciousness. Dr. Tomer is an acknowledged trainer, academician, scholar, writer, and a management consultant. He's a freelance trainer and served the cabinet ministers of state, MLAs, police officers, and tycoons of the business world. His aim and objective is universal brotherhood and happiness through harmonizing the knowledge from the ancient scriptures into our lives. So I welcome all our guests for panel discussion.
Namaste, most welcome. We welcome you,
Namaste.
Gopalaji,
Namaste.
and Valerie ji, and Neeraj ji, if I'm pronouncing all of your names correct. And pardon me if pronunciation is wrong. So, dear friends, watching us from different parts of the planet, what topic of discussion today we have yoga and meditation as a means for global peace. And we have experts from three continents. I am from Asia. We have our friends from Africa and Australia too. So let me begin the discussion with Gopalaji. His sound system is now working, and
I think it is, yes.
yes, let's begin with him only. As our topic is yoga and meditation as a means for global peace. So, what is meditation for you, Gopalaji? People have different definitions of meditation. What is meditation?
Well, I think meditation is many things, but the goal of meditation is like the goal of life. You know, what is the goal of life? Why do we do everything? And of course, we have many answers to these questions, but behind all of those answers, the one answer is happiness, right? If someone would have told you that by being here today you would suffer, you wouldn't have come, right? And anyone who wants to suffer, you can raise your hand. It's very easy to do. Yeah, we all want to be happy. So meditation is to be happy. So of course, a big part of happiness is what's going on inside us. It's our mindset and how we see ourselves and the world, and it's being able to take a step away from drowning in our own thoughts and feelings and having a better perspective. But I think that the notion that happiness is only within and somehow disconnected from the rest of the world is also false in some ways, because we're all interconnected and interdependent in so many ways, and if one of us is miserable, we drag all of us. We drag each other down, and if one of us is happy, we all elevate each other up. So I think when we talk about meditation and about yoga, maybe an old paradigm is to say that it's all our journey inside of us, but I think a more evolved paradigm could be those two sides of the coin. Yes, there is our journey within, but just as much we can't keep the peace, the happiness inside of us. It is to be shared. If it
Thank,
is to grow, we do need to support each other in
perfect, perfect.
happiness. So meditation, while it is finding the peace inside of us, is
Thank you.
just as much being with our loved
So,
ones, our
as
families, our
Gopalaji
community.
mentioned, meditation is finding peace and happiness, and we all are interconnected and interdependent also. May I request all the guests to be more precise in discussion so that we'll have more rounds of questions. We have limited time, so we'll have more rounds of questions from everybody. So precision will certainly help us. We'll ask from Hanuman Das ji. Hanuman Das ji, we are discussing two things together. One, Gopalaji mentioned about meditation, and another we are talking about yoga also, though meditation is a part of yoga. So what is meditation for you?
Thanks, Vikram. When I teach the meditation teachers that I teach, we use the technical term of an unbroken connection between the subject and the object. And so that's a link, a yoke, a union between the object we've chosen to meditate upon and the meditator itself. The other thing that I would say, it is freedom. I think my teacher Ramdas went through a phase um, of other ways of becoming other aware, and he said that was getting high, wasn't it? He said getting free was the game, and that was what meditation is: freedom, and we do that through that ability to have narada, focused concentration, and then meditation. Thank you.
Thank you. Said that meditation is Niruddha, freedom, and unbroken connect between subject and object. May I request Verily, would you like to pronounce your name again so that I will be more specific in pronouncing your name?
Thank you, Vikram. My name is Valerie. You can call me Val or Valerie.
Valerie is okay. I can pronounce it correctly. Perfect. So, Valerie, what is meditation for you?
So I would say that meditation is dhyanam. Dhyanam is from the Sanskrit word he, which is to hold. So with meditation, we strive to hold on to something for a period of time. So we try to sustain a connection with an object we have chosen. And that object has to be something beneficial, something that's going to elevate us. So that's a really important aspect. I mean, of course, meditation is many things, but the word dhyanam in the Yoga Sutras has different meanings in all 4 chapters, which is also an indication that for all people there's going to be something different.
Perfect.
That it's not, there's no prescriptive solution.
Thank
Whatever
you.
we choose to hold on to.
To hold on to something which is elevating and higher is meditation, says Verli. What is it for you, Neeraj?
For me, it's the practice of Vedic chanting. Sorry, were you asking me?
No, I'm asking Neeraj. Yes, thank you for your answer.
Yeah, thank you, sir. For me, meditation is like focusing on your emotions, and as well as your breath. So once you focus on your emotion and breath, that will decrease your stress. And once stress is decreased, your calmness will get cultivated. When calmness get cultivated, you will become more open mind. You will become less conflict oriented. So that's for me is a very simple definition of meditation.
Perfect. We have one interesting, thank you, as Neeraj mentioned, that focus on your breath. It will help you to reduce down your stress and increase your calmness. We had an interesting observation from Gopalaji that if people around us are not happy, we cannot be happy because we are interconnected and interdependent. So, Gopalaji, I would like to request from you to further this thought of discussion, maybe very briefly. So, when you mentioned this, that meditation is inner joy, does that inner happen, or meditation is reaching to happiness? Does that happiness, my happiness, depends on others' happiness also?
Well, this conference, as I understand it, it's about world peace. So I think one of the things I keep hearing here is about the clear distinction between subject and object, and all the distinctions that we make between us inside and us outside, between us and other people, us and the world. And I think maybe that's the blockage to peace. Maybe my happiness is not separate at all from your happiness or someone else's happiness. Maybe this is the problem, is those walls that we have created, this false subject and object split. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't just be happy. Yes, I can be happy on my own, but I think it's not real, because I mean, because maybe I am like this is just a tiny drop in the ocean.
Thank you. How compassionate answer Gopalaji has given. It reminds me of Mahayana tradition that says that you can't be happy alone, and that's why Lord Buddha had to take 565 incarnations to make people around happy. I can't be liberated alone, but Hinayana says that your liberation belongs to you. You can be liberated alone. What do you think, Hanumanji? Can I be happy through my meditation when the world around me is not that happy?
It's interesting when Gopal uses the word happiness. It's not one that I tend to use very often. I tend to think about freedom, and we use the subject object to transcend that separateness. So the concentration between the subject and object then propels us beyond, back into the unity. So I don't tend to. I see the oneness, but I haven't been able to manifest that fully because I haven't been able to control the mind enough at different times and the love and devotion that I require. So I think for me, it's the ability to both times see the duality and the unity at the same time. And I know that happiness for me is a fleeting thing. I'm equally trying to be peaceful or liberated, whether I'm happy or whether I'm unhappy, because those emotions seem to come and go like a cloud in the sky. And if I attach myself to those things, I'm not of service to anyone else. So I maybe have a slightly different take on it in that
Perfect.
sense.
Can be understood. And as Gopalaji mentioned about the split between subject and object, Hanumanji added that you need to go beyond that split, and that is where meditation lies. He said that once subject and object merges into one, and then you call that you are in meditation. You mentioned about freedom. Freedom from what, Hanuman Das ji? In one word, if you can answer, freedom from what?
Well, I'd use two words: the cycle of samsara.
You said that cycle of samsara. Okay, so when you say cycle of samsara, it means the cycle of dukkha also. Does that mean that also?
Yes, it would. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So it means freedom from cycle of dukkha too, and freedom from dukkha is ananda. So okay, fine. So here are the dots are connected. That Hanuman Das ji is saying that meditation is freedom from dukkha, reaching to that ananda, going transcendenting that split. Verli ji, you mentioned about that dhyana is holding on to something for relatively longer period of time. What do you think should be the subject on which you should be holding on? As you said, it should be something elevating. What should it be?
Patanjali says very clearly, Yatha bhimata dhyana. Anything goes. Anything goes. As long as it is
to the audience watching to you, what would you suggest? Maybe out of your experience, what they should hold on to?
in the object that is going to induce peace, because that is what the world needs, and hence your conference.
Mm-hmm.
But back to what I was saying, it's isolation that leads to freedom, because Sankhya Yoga are very clear about this. Kaivalya, the root of Kaivalya as a word is Kevala, which means aloneness. And as much as we are social individuals, we are also alone individuals. And it's only through this kind of a step into freedom that we are going to be able to access that freedom. So that's not me who says that, right? It's Patanjali.
Perfect.
Aloneness leads to freedom.
Perfect. So, Riji mentioned about that. Hold on to peace, sit in isolation, and reach to that Kevalya Bhava, that being uniquely different from everybody else. But yes, as Hanumanji said, as Gopalji also mentioned, we are interconnected, but still we are unique in our identity, as Verliji also mentioned. Neeraj would like to come to you about what you mentioned. Focus on emotion, on breath, and that will cause to reduction in stress. Any kind of particular meditation would you like to suggest to our people which have worked for you, which you would like to suggest for the beginners? If I have never been exposed to meditation, I know nothing about yoga, and I'm seeing this discussion for the first time, from where should I begin?
I think one should begin with the social media. They should go to YouTube or our United Consciousness channel. There are a lot of meditations are there. So they can start with the grateful meditation, healing meditation. There are ample amount of meditation. But since you are starting, so start with 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then once you get in habit and once you are used to it, then you can increase the time.
As Neeraj mentioned, that you can choose meditation as per your requirement, depending on what is your objective, and increase it gradually. How you can increase how, as Verli mentioned, that you can need to hold on it for the larger period of time than before. So my question is to Gopalaji. I live in a place where people around me are in war-prone zone. I live in Ukraine. Can I be happy?
Yes.
Can I be happy if I'm living in a war-prone zone?
Yes, I think you can be happy and balanced even in the middle of the storm, but I think happiness is only real when it is shared. I think happiness just for yourself is is not totally selfish, but it's maybe bordering on that. So I see things a bit differently from Valerie. She said it's about aloneness, but I think it's all about togetherness. I think aloneness is the disease of the world. It's like aloneness, selfishness. And actually, I have lots of experience of being alone, meditating in a cave or in the forest. And when you step out and people step on your toes, you have achieved nothing. You're, the real evolution is when you are with others. We are mirrors of each other. That's how we really evolve. And I think the best meditation, especially nowadays, will not be necessarily closing your eyes and ignoring the world. It will be holding your children tighter, kissing your wife or husband more passionately, and creating social change in your community.
Perfect. So I think lots of discussion is happening over here, and Gopalaji mentioned that meditation is not actually always needed to be with closed eyes. You can be meditative with your open eyes when your circle of love expands. When in your definition of me, you include everybody else, you see no duality. When everybody belongs to you, you belong to all, and this is what is meditation. And you can bring social change. And he also said that when you are happy, you can share your happiness, but that underlines that first you need to be happy, then only you can share your happiness. And Hanuman Das ji mentioned this, that duality and unity at the same time is meditation. So this is what is the matter of discussion happening, that aloneness or togetherness, duality or unity, and you said both happen at the same time. Hanuman Das ji, go ahead.
Yes, that's my that's my experience as well. That I could be alone in a meditative state, and feel the presence of my guru, and I can be in a room full of people and feel the presence of my guru. And so the room or the environment that I'm in is not as important as the connection. And so, yes, I sit down and do the practices of meditation, of dharana, of dhyana, of all the Sanskrit words of Viveka. But it's in the service of doing that. My teacher gave me only three things to do. He's just left me three things, and that's good because I'm simple. I don't think I could handle more than that. He told me to love everyone, to serve everyone, and to remember God. And most times I have to do some sort of meditation to be able to remember God so I can love everyone and serve everyone. And so all the practices are a catapult. And they get less over the years. You do them differently, but they are the essence of what allows me to love, serve, and remember, as Maharaji asked.
Perfect. Hanumanji mentioned that the journey is alone, but you can remain connected with everybody. In your astral connect, you can love, you can serve, and you can remember the true unity, as they say, Advaita, oneness. Perfect. But the journey is unique, as Verliji mentioned that my journey is unique to my own experiences, my own level of elevation. So how can I make this unique journey, Verliji? This is my only opportunity to be me, in even if I may have 100 lifetimes, but this is my only opportunity to be Verli this time. So this birth, this time, this day, how can we utilize to the maximum? We need some practical 2 tips from you for the audience. How can I make this journey, which is unique in nature, most fulfilling?
You see, Tisikash always said, yoga is relationship, dhyana is relationship. So we are always in a relationship with something as long as we are in this life. Kaivalya is the end of the journey. Kaivalya is when we're alone. So ultimately, that's where the result, the fruit is ripe to pick and it falls off the tree. But in the process, we are never in isolation. We have to try our best, somehow to find what is going to make each of us work, what makes us tick. There's no prescription to that. There's no prescription. I wish there was, but there's no prescription to. It's about, the question is about, how do we choose an object of meditation? How do we choose what our focus will be? That's the real question. And so we need a teacher. we need a guide, we need a mentor, as Hanumanji was saying. Sometimes it is the best to be guided, to be led, to be pointed in the right direction. But it has to be by someone who knows us well and who has our best interests at heart. Because we all need something specific to our education, our background, our life journey. There is a reason why we are where we are. And it's not easy. It's not easy for us to prescribe a standard topic of meditation to anyone. That's why every meditation has to be uniquely designed for each individual. That's my feeling, and that's my experience. That's how I was guided and taught by the lineage of teachers that I was fortunate to learn from.
Perfect. Thank you very much for suggesting that going for a guru is the most prominent thing. It will guide you further depending on your pursuit and your level of elevation. That's
The
very well.
Sadguru, the good guru, the Sadguru, that is important. The competent guru.
Perfect. We'll go to Neeraj ji and would like to know from you some practical tips, because you have been in corporate also. You are a practitioner of Vedanta also. So some quick tips you would like to give it to the audience if they want to begin with their spiritual journey towards peace.
Okay. So I would like to start with an example here, which I personally observed in Nigeria. So there was one Mr. Peace person. So he was from a village where almost drug abuse and alcohol addiction rate was 90%. But he was the exception. So then when we went into the detail why he was an exception, then we saw that he was associated with an NGO which regularly do the yoga and meditation practices. So, what I'll say as an individual, one should follow their karma. Maybe it is in the small way or a big way. Try to align with any organization which first teaches. So, once you have developed an interest, then you will get associated with, you will find your way automatically once your level of maturity increases. So what I'll say, just go to, again I'll repeat, just go to YouTube, just try to find out the people with the similar interest and try to do the yoga and meditation.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We'll come to Gopalaji. Gopalaji, now every answer will be maximum of 40 seconds. So all of us will answer in 40 seconds. My question to you is quick tips for those people who are in difficult places. How can they remain happy? Any quick tips? Like, for example, let me be more specific in that case. I have a very difficult relationship with the people I live with. I feel miserable. Any suggestions from yoga or meditation for me?
Yeah, well, I think it's a few things. If you're talking about, the people that you live with and you have difficult time with them, I think it's about having a shared vision of the future. And I think this is very important for peace, whether it's, within a family, a community, or countries. When we focus on the problems, we make the problems bigger. People say the grass is greener where you water it, but that's totally incorrect. The grass is sorry, people say the neighbor's grass is greener, but the truth is that the grass is greener where you water it. If we focus on the problem and what was wrong in the past, we'll have more problem. We need to have a shared vision of the future. We need to have a vision of a future that's full with peace and love and harmony for everyone. And I think this is how we can progress forward. Yeah, this is how we can create peace.
Thank you very much. Hanuman Das ji, I recently appeared for an interview. I prepared a lot. I failed miserably. Can yoga and meditation support me in that?
I guess the question is who failed miserably? The identification as the role and not the soul is where the trap is. If you identify as someone who played the role as interviewee or interviewee, suffering. If you identify as soul, no suffering. You prepare again well. Next time you give it your all and give it to your guru, man. Give it to your guru. Identify as soul, not role.
Thank you. Verli ji, I live in war-prone zones, and I don't know whether I will survive next day or not. My mind is not at peace. Can yoga meditation help me in that?
Sorry, your question, can yoga help me with that?
Yes, yes. I live in a war-prone zone. Every night I go to bed, never know whether will I get up or not. My mind remains disturbed. Can yoga meditation help me in that? If yes, how?
Meditate, reflect, and pray.
Nice.
3 words.
Perfect. Neeraj, my kids are not on the right track. In spite of my telling them many things, still they do what they want to do, and that is not the right direction. It disturbs me. Can yoga meditation help me in that?
Yes, absolutely. What I say is nothing to do with the kids and all to do with you. So if something is irritating you, that means there is something within inside you which need to be worked on, first of all. And then what you can do from your side, again, I'll say, is you can give them the right advice. Rest is right advice and guidance. Rest is their karma as well as what they'll become.
Perfect, perfect. So, dear friends, you saw we had experts from different parts of the world, and we tried to assure that yoga and meditation should come to the fields in our lives, should be able to deal with our daily problems. And we had our expert here, Gopalaji, mentioned that meditation should lead to happiness and it is a journey towards inside. He gave importance that we are interconnected, interdependence. And we said that first you be happy, and once you are happy, then share your happiness with others. He also mentioned that meditation does not necessarily closing your eyes. You can open your eyes, expand your sphere of love. When you see yourself in others, when you see me in you, you in me, and us in all, it means you are really elevating in spiritual journey. That way you can bring a social change. And he said, whenever you confront a problem, focus on the solution. Shared vision, as he mentioned, focus on the solution. In Yoga Shastra it is said pratipaksha bhavana, go for the counter thoughts, because you hit what you see. If you see problems, you are going to hit the problems. Go for the shared vision. And Hanumanji mentioned that meditation is unbroken connect between sadhaka and the sadhya, the subject and object, and when they merge into one, you get niruddha, you become free, you transcendent from that split of object and subject, and you become free from misery. And that is what is the liberation, free from all the misery, duality, and entering into a level of unity, togetherness. And that is what he said, that astrally we all are connected, and in that connect, love, serve, and remember your true nature. And our true nature is, we are not human being having spiritual experience, we are spiritual beings having human experience. That's why he said, when you identify with the role, you will suffer. Role will come and go, they will keep on changing. Identify with your soul journey, it's a long journey. When your identification is correct, from suffering you reach to supreme. And for that, faith is important. Faith in guru, faith in scriptures, faith in yourself, he said. Verli ji mentioned that dhyana is holding on something which will elevate you. And she said, journey is alone journey. Nobody can do it for you. It is your journey. You need to elevate, as Gita says, Atmani Atmana Muddaret. You yourself lift yourself. Nobody else can lift you. And then once you lift yourself, in the process, everybody else can also be lifted. She said, relationship is in the process. But once you reach to the object, the destination, then you realize that alone is the truth. Kevali, literally, as she rightly said, that alone is the truth. And the truth is Aham Brahmasmi. And in order to reach that truth, she mentioned Satguru is very much important. And prayer, reflection, Swadhyaya, and third is meditation, Dhyana, is the mantra she gave. Neeraj mentioned about start focusing on your breath. It will reduce your stress, increase your calmness. Identify the right meditation that you would like to pick. Gradually increase your time. Importance of satsanga is very important. Master is important. Buddham is important. Even Sangham is equally important. He said that if you get irritated because of something, identify your triggers, why it is triggering you, and we can only show path to others. Whether they walk or not, it's their choice, because everybody has their own journey. As Verli said, journey is alone, but destination is of oneness. Thank you very much, friends, watching us from different parts of the world. I'm sure it will help us to be more peaceful in life. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste.
It's my honor to introduce and welcome Mr. Gopal Amir Yafa, a visionary and compassionate leader in the global yoga community. Has dedicated his life to foster peace and connection through his innovative work. Starting his journey as a teenager, he found his calling in yoga and meditation at the young age of 14, which deepened during his 10 years as a Hindu monk at the Shivananda Ashram. Since 1995, he has been teaching yoga to both adults and children, expanding the ideas of inner peace into a large mission of global harmony. His passion for making yoga more inclusive led to the opening of Yoga Le Shalom, Yoga for Peace Center in Tel Aviv, where he advocated for yoga's potential to cultivate world peace. His most groundbreaking work is the creation of Rainbow Yoga, a transformative practice that moves beyond the individual, making yoga social, interactive, and inclusive. This revolutionary approach has touched lives worldwide, emphasizing community, love, and connection. Alongside his beautiful family, he is on a heartfelt mission to inspire a social evolution rooted in kindness, compassion, and inclusivity for all human beings, both human and animal, guided by the mantra, "Be the change you want to see in the world." He continues to lead with love and purpose, spreading light wherever he goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Gopal Amir Yafa.
Gopalji, whole stage is yours for the topic cultivating inner peace and serenity through spiritual meditation. Over to you. Next 13
Yes.
minutes are yours.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you everyone that participated for your insights and your wisdom. Yes, I definitely believe in inner peace for world peace. I do think that we are here for a reason, each and every one of us. We're here for nothing less than making the world a better place. And I want to start with a story. When I lived in the ashram, this was 1995. A beautiful lady from the United States was staying for a few weeks in the ashram, and we became good friends. And she shared with me that she is on her way to Jordan in the Middle East to be the private yoga teacher of King Hussein and the royal family. And she went on her way and was teaching yoga to King Hussein. And amazingly, after a few very short months, King Hussein's attitude towards the Middle East situation changed completely. And Jordan made peace with Israel, which is a peace that we still have today. So lots of people are feeling desperate. They think that peace is not possible, but I know it is. I'm originally from Israel. I lived through a few wars. I've seen lots of hatred, but I also have seen lots of love. We had war. Israel had war with Jordan before. Now we have peace. We had war with Egypt. Now we have peace. We even have peace with the United Emirates now, and we will have peace with Palestine as well. And it maybe just like Valerie said, yes, maybe it does start with inner peace. This is important, right? We all know that it all starts from inside of us. Let's say that we are a parent or we are a teacher. We go back home or we go and teach at the school. If we are not feeling peace inside of us, immediately it is reflected back to us. Immediately we have conflicts within our classroom, within our family, within our community. If we approach with inner peace, very quickly this peace spreads, to our families, to our communities, and yes, to the whole world. So those panelists before, you were right. It does start from inside of us, each and every one of us. We do need to do the inner work for our own inner peace, but it cannot stay there. What's the use of yoga, of meditation, if it's just for us. It is not. This is to be shared. It is to be spread around, because the question in all of this is why? What for? Yeah, why just to close our eyes and feel peaceful? No, the real joy in life is when we can share this peace and happiness with everyone. So I really see yoga as a journey to go beyond the individuals. I see it as a way to connect our hands and our hearts and bring peace. And this is what I have done when I came back from the ashram back to Israel, is create yoga specifically for peace. And in my yoga classes, retreats, teacher trainings, we don't do yoga just on our own, in our own cave or on our own yoga mat. No, we are entering the rainbow yoga circle. We connect to our neighbors, to our friends, to our family. We expand our hearts, and this is where the transformation happens. So just as much as it is important to go within, it is also important to expand and connect to everyone and everything around us. This is at least as much real yoga as to go within. Yeah. So it's like we are like amoebas. Yes, there are times to go within, and there are times to go out and connect with everyone. This is the rhythm of life, of the universe. This is how I see yoga as a power to transform the world. So yes, also times are changing, and maybe yoga was before more individual, as people lived in smaller communities, but now we are in a global world, and yoga can evolve. So for me, yoga is a tool. It is not a goal on its own. It can be a tool for you to be healthier and more fit, or for your mental health, like we heard here before, but it is also a tool for not just for inner peace, but for world peace. Yes, so I think we can all contribute with our yoga in this way, and create transformative experiences in our classes. And we do have this job as yoga teachers, as our social structures have broken down. We don't live in villages anymore. We don't all have grandparents and wise people and gurus around us. It does fall maybe on every yoga teacher in the world to be more than a yoga teacher, to also be um, a bringer of peace, whether it's being a psychologist or a priest or a rabbi or whatever. More than just teaching yoga, we are here to really help people in their life. And yes, so when I teach yoga, I teach more than stretches, and when you teach yoga, you teach more than stretches. We teach world peace. It starts from within, but it doesn't end there. And in my journey of bringing peace, doing peace work in Israel between Israelis and Palestinians and all around the world, what came to me as the most important and effective thing in bringing peace is in this one word: it's education. If we teach our children to hate, they will hate. If we teach them to love, they will love. So this is what we need to do. We need to keep sharing love, keep sharing kindness, keep sharing respect, keep sharing, accepting each other as we are, keep focusing on what unites us and not what separates us. This is what we need to keep passing to the next generation. Yeah, and there's only one way to do it. It's through examples. So it's up to me, it's up to you, it's up to all of us to create a change in our own life and show to our children, to our students, to the next generation, how to do it as well. Yeah, and peace is totally possible. Yeah, if I do one good thing and you do one good thing and each and every one of us does one good thing, it makes a huge difference. Yeah, each one of us is maybe seems to be a little light, but together we are a beacon that lights the whole world, a beacon that will bring peace. And yes, I have been doing grassroots activism in many ways, from the environment and animals and world peace for a long time. But I would like to see the change coming from high up as well, not just from bottom to top. I know we're all doing our best. I would like to see it coming from above. And this is why it's so important to have organization like yours and connect with NGOs to the global community and see more change happening from the top to the bottom. This is what I want to see in the world. Still in my lifetime, this is the world I want to see for my children and grandchildren. And I believe we can do it. We should never give up, and we should really slow down a little bit. I know that I'm talking very fast right now because I only have a few minutes, but this is very important. I think each and every one of us, each and every person in the world really does care. We all really want to make the world a better place, whether it's a world of one individual that we love, or our own world, or the world of our family, the world of our community, of our country, or the whole world. We all really, really want this, but sometimes we're too busy, we're too rushed to care as much as we want to. So I would like to see a world where we all take deeper breaths and take more time to love and care for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, for the earth, and for the world at large. So I'm so happy that you joined this United Consciousness conference, Week of Peace, because it's good to know that I'm not alone, you're not alone as well. We're all in this together. We all keep putting the effort in. Change will happen. Change is happening. We have it's in our nature to focus on the negativity and to see the bad, but I can really see that the world is getting more conscious, that people do want to have more peace, even while we are spiraling into a world that's faster and busier and noisier. At the same time, people also do care more and want to take the extra step to make a difference in the world. So again, thank you all for being on this journey with me, and let's continue connecting and making the world a better place together.
Thank you very much, Gopalaji. So nicely you gave emphasis on seva. If yoga does not teach me to help others, then it is not right spiritual path I am on. As somebody rightly said, seva is dharma in action. When dharma comes in action, it becomes service. So I'm sure the message you want to give, and this is what you said, we need to teach to our kids, because education is important. The stories we tell our kids decides whether they will love others or hate others. Anything which will create a more unified world should be upholded. Anything that creates divisive world should be condemned. And for that, as you rightly said, we need to lead with example. We need to live the message we want to propagate to others, so that we can create a better planet for our children, leaving no one behind. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Mr. Gopal Amir Yafa for coming on to the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much. I'm delighted to welcome and introduce Ms. Valerie Femet-Feneko. She's a reputed teacher who started to practice yoga in 1994. She began teaching in 1999 in the US after taking a 200 hours courses, and then went to the complete more than 8 combined years of training in the tradition of Krishnamacharya with her mentor Frank Modes in Belgium, and at the KYM in India with Mr. Desikachar and other senior teachers. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Ms. Valerie Femet.
Most welcome again, Varliji. Stage is yours for the topic, the journey of self-healing and wholeness through spiritual awakening. Next 14 minutes belong to you. Namaste.
Thank you. Thanks, Vikrant. So when I read the topic, I thought I'd start by breaking apart the topic itself, and it occurred to me that I have to share with you some of my personal experience of going through this process as well as trying to make it fit into a bigger picture. My personal experience in the last 4 years has been to go very much deeper than before in Vedic studies through the study of Sanskrit. So it's brought me to study the Vedas, the Shastras, in quite a lot of depth, I would say. So forgive me if I refer to the Shastras and to this as I explain what I'm about to explain. So when we talk about self-healing and wholeness as a goal, as an aim, it implies that there is a need for us to reach that insofar as us being dissociated from that state. Okay, so we are not healed, we are not whole. Therefore, we want to become healed and whole. And that is the state of being that is more or less always there by default. In a mechanical kind of everyday kind of attitude, we experience distress, frustration, stress. We might put this all into the bag and call it suffering. Okay, so the Shastras call it dukkha. Dukkhatraya. There's actually 3 sources of suffering that are identified by Sankhya, especially Sankhya philosophy, and the suffering that we create within ourselves, adhyatmika dukkha, the suffering that comes from external factors, and the suffering that is beyond our control, that comes from, we might say, acts of God or things that are beyond our control. So whatever the source of suffering is, it's where most of us are, to one degree or the other. And so this process of reaching wholeness, of reaching a state of that we might call healing, of self-healing, is the process is going to take us from suffering to no suffering. And the scriptures, the Shastras are full of stories there, it's replete with symbolism about this very process and the journey that takes us from the shore of suffering to the shore of no suffering, in the words of a beautiful sukta called Durga Sukta. And the symbolism is that, you board a ship or a boat and you are traveling from the shore of suffering to the shore of no suffering. So what about this journey? What about this process? It is a process that is very unique to all of us. And it starts by knowing where we are. Okay. And so if we turn to Bhagavad Gita, for example, 2nd chapter, Ramanuja, in fact, commented on a particular verse in the 2nd chapter by saying, I think it was verse 45, I can't remember. Anyway, apraptasya praptihi yogaha. What is yoga? Is the process that's going to take us from being incapable to being capable. So from incapable, we become capable through that process. From suffering, we experience freedom. Okay, and that implies understanding where we are and why we have reached the point where we're at. So there is a great deal of personal inquiry involved in that. Svadhyaya, inquiry upon our own self. Only that can take us there. So that is the first step, understanding where we are, understanding why we are there, and then establishing the objective. What does it mean to heal oneself? What does it mean to be whole? So that requires a little bit of reflection, because the word healing itself, in English at any rate, is different from the word curing. we could talk about curing in medical terms, curing a disease. There are diseases that are incurable. There are conditions, illnesses that are curable. But with healing, we're in a different domain altogether, because with healing, we're talking about how the person is relating to the condition, how the person is dealing with the disease. So that does not necessarily imply curing. That's why there is a spiritual dimension to healing that is not necessarily found in curing. Now, giving all that, yoga and the tools of yoga, especially pranayama, asana, even meditation, they have the potential to improve certain conditions and to aid in the curing process as well as aiding in the healing process. But when we're talking about healing, the practice, what Patanjali calls the internal practices, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, excuse me, the practices of the gradual refinement of the mind through meditation, those are the practices that are going to help us to move forward on this path of healing, of self-healing. And the scriptures are also very clear in suggesting that svadhyaya, personal inquiry, is really aided. We would say it's not exclusively dependent upon, but it's aided by the study of the scriptures. So it's not just reading the scriptures, it's absorbing the scriptures, it's absorbing the text, listening to someone who can explain them and relate them to certain conditions and situations that we face. And that becomes, again, another layer of platform of reflection for us. That is how the study of the scriptures can help us to heal. Yes, to heal, I would say, insofar as aiding the mind to come to grips with certain situations. So in healing, there is an element of acceptance. At the same time, there's also an element of willfulness to change. So it's a mixing of ingredients, really. But it all begins with saying, I need help. If we don't say, I need help, the journey cannot begin. So the awareness that something needs to change is the starting point for something that is going to lead, it's going to be a whole process. And no solution is prescriptive. There's not a single, a ready-made package of meditation that's going to suit this particular condition or that particular situation. There are as many paths as we often say, as there are people. But I would say there is really only one kind of healing that is possible, and that is self-healing. It has to come from the self, within the self, by the self. It doesn't mean that we do this alone, as we were talking about earlier in the panel. The guidance from a teacher, a good teacher, a competent teacher, is essential, because it's could be a very lonely prospect otherwise. So this is a big question. This is a big question. This application of the process to reach this wholeness depends on many things. It would depend on our education. It would depend whether we have a religious background or not. It would depend on our age, our affinities. Are we attracted by this particular object or this particular topic, or are we not? It's not prescriptive in the sense that it doesn't have to be necessarily in Indian scriptures, Vedic scriptures. It could lead us to seek guidance from a completely different spiritual tradition. And in fact, perhaps the best solution is to stay within our own family background and to turn back to these traditions to find guidance in that. It's no prescription. So this process does not necessarily involve isolating ourselves from life. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It is engaging in life and not escaping all of life's challenges. In the Yoga Sutra, it is very clear that there is a path of life, a path of experience. It's called bhoga. We go through life. This field of experience is there for us to walk through. And if ultimately, who is the one who is going to benefit from this field of experience? Is it our mind? It's not our mind, clearly. Our mind is only a tool that's going to bring about these perceptions and whatever there is to perceive, whatever there is to experience. Who is the one who enjoys? Who is the one who is going to benefit from all this? It is what yoga calls the bhoktra, the enjoyer, the one who knows in Sankhya, the jna. There are many terms for this entity. It is our deep innermost entity, whatever we want to call it. The one who enjoys, the one who will eventually be liberated, the one who will, hopefully, if we manage to sustain this effort, at least enjoy the benefit of dukkha will be decreased, of diminishing dukkha, suffering, if not removing it completely. And that's where healing is very relevant, because the ambition may not be to completely suppress suffering. The ambition may be to decrease suffering. And that might be a more realistic proposition for some and then for others. So it's a very big question, how to reach spiritual realization. How to reach spiritual realization. First of all, what is spiritual realization? Not all of us will agree on what it is. What does it constitute? For some people, simply being freed from an unpleasant life situation may constitute realization in itself. If there has been a continuous toxic relationship in one's life, for example, and that toxic relationship is finally coming to an end, that can give the same kind of sublimation to one as another type of more purely spiritual pursuit would give to another. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that there is not really a prescriptive way to go about this, and that the guidance from a teacher or mentor is probably essential. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I have really found a lot of wisdom in the scriptures, especially the Upanishadic literature that I'm studying at the moment, and it is helping me to understand certain situations that I'm dealing with. That's just how it works for me. I don't know if there is anything else you want to add, Vikram, or any question you want to ask me, but
Varliji, in fact, this speech, what you mentioned about the journey of self-healing and wholeness through spiritual awakening, it is nice that you started from the point everybody can relate to, dukkhatraya, and you also mentioned about all three types of dukkha, and you mentioned that journey from suffering to no suffering. You also quoted Ramanuja and saying that apraptasya praptihi yoga, which is what from being incapable to the capable. And I'm glad that in the summary you gave emphasis to the importance of right guru. As the Kenopnishad keeps on saying, Kathopanishad keeps on saying, Guru has to be Asharyavakta, Shotriya and Brahmanistha, so that the Shastras can be translated in its right meaning, so that lots of confusion, lots of ignorance can be dispelled. So I'm sure that these words of wisdom will certainly inspire many of the people around. One, to realize this, that if there is misery in life, there is hope also in life. And hope lies in self inquiry, identifying the right guru, following the right scriptures. So I'm sure that these words will be helpful for the audience, and it will yield them the peace that they deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to speak. Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Ms. Valerie Famert Feneco for coming on to the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.
What can be better than to meet you again, Mr. Joshi, CEO Yoga Australia? Would certainly like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for collaborating together in this United Consciousness International Week of Peace, where people, experts, participants, audience from around 100 countries have come together. And thank you for inviting amazing speakers like Hanuman Das ji, Celia Gopala ji. We had talk from Verli ji, and these amazing speakers, great yoga sadhakas. So thank you from bottom of my heart, Joshi.
Vikramji, very, very grateful for you too. Thank you for putting the work together. You know, these sorts of events are a great opportunity for us, and we do them. But if it wasn't for you, you know, this one wouldn't have happened. And it was just so wonderful for me to see some of our senior teachers and to enjoy just the gravity and the depth of experience that we have in our membership. Thank you.
So here we would like to extend our sincere invitation to you. You are already coming in Ujjain in the physical manifestation of this program on 14th, 15th and 16th of February 2025. We invite Yoga Australia also to come. All the yoga sadhakas who would like to participate, get benefited, everybody is invited. And at the offset, we would like to thank again our special guest today, Professor Rekha Singhal, who also nourished one speech. Thank you very much, everybody who's watching us from different parts of the world. Thank you. Thank you, Joshi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्.
This shloka means, may everyone be happy, may everyone be free from all diseases, may everyone see goodness and auspiciousness in everything, may none be unhappy or distressed. Om Shantihi, Shantihi, Shantihi. I am highly privileged to have this opportunity to present my gratitude to all those who have witnessed and blessed this event directly or indirectly. I believe that this is not the end, but the beginning of our journeys. The journeys towards the noble cause of removing the 14 divides rooted in human race and promoting harmonious and peaceful coexistence. Firstly, I thank the God for blessing us all. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Rajesh Rabindranath of Project Self USA, Yogi Baba Adnan and Madam Kubuk of Siddha Ashram Yoga Center, Mr. Andre Reel of Nidra Yoga, Swami Suryananda Saraswati of European Yoga Federation, Mr. Sukhdev Volker Brett of Yoga Vidya, Mr. Valdemar Parado of Yoga Yogeshmo, Ms. Patricia Begley of AAYT, Ms. Amy Blessio of CUIDY, Ms. Valentina Cortene of African Spiritual Council, Mr. Andre Lebanau of Yoga Lam, Mr. Josh Pryor of Yoga Australia, and Mr. Jose Druge of the for your invaluable contribution and support. I'm also very thankful to Dr. Vikrant Singh Tomar of United Consciousness for hosting such a beautiful program. I also thank Team United Consciousness for their valuable contributions to such a beautiful program.